Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Davis and you're watching Fight News Now Extra. Stick around for the latest news coming out of the MMA world, including the Ultimate Fighter making a move and the injury bug strikes again. 2 UFC fighters are forced out of their December bouts. Our MMA panel will also join us, so let's get to our Newsmakers. Earlier this year, The Ultimate Fighter debuted on FX on Friday nights to dismal ratings. Now it's been confirmed that the show will be moving back to Wednesdays, a night that proved to be most successful when Tough was on Spike TV. Here's what Jon Jones's manager, Mal Kikawa, had to say about it.
I also want to get an update. Jon Jones is currently filming The Ultimate Fighter right now alongside Chael Sonnen right now. Obviously, without giving anything away right now, what was the decision process there? Was Jon, interested right away to go in and coach? Because it's a big commitment on the part of a fighter, and Jon's at a level right now where he really doesn't need that kind of exposure. He's already at that level.
Yeah, the thing is, The Ultimate Fighter has been here's my thing with The Ultimate Fighter. They moved it to Wednesday, which I think is a great move for the show. And I think that should allow more fans to come to it being on FX. And I think it is good for Jon, regardless of how big of a star he is or not. This is an opportunity for fans to really see Jon in a different element.
The Tough 16 finale has taken a major blow. An injured knee has taken head coach Shane Carwin out of his bout against fellow head coach Roy Nelson. Dana White tweeted out the news and has yet to announce Carwin's replacement for the December 15th card. The injuries don't stop there. Lightweight Gray Maynard has also blown out his knee, forcing him to pull out of his UFC 155 bout against Joe Lauzon. Stepping in to fill Maynard's spot will be Jim Miller, who is coming off a submission loss to Nate Diaz at UFC on Fox 3. There's the latest MMA news. Now let's hear from our MMA analysts, John Ramdeen and Robin Black. And guys, a lot going on in December. There's UFC 155, there's the Tough finale, and UFC on Fox.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for mixed martial arts fans. And who's going to step in for Carwin? Well, there's lots of people that could fill those big shoes. And one of those fighters is Bigfoot, in my opinion. Yes, he's rumored to fight Alistair Overeem, but these guys are kind of training partners. I don't really need to see that fight right now. I think Bigfoot would be a suitable replacement as well. A fight between Mark Hunt and Roy Nelson. That says fan-friendly fight all over it. But I think a more intriguing fight would be the rematch between Stefan Struve and Roy Nelson. Struve was just starting to hit his stride when Nelson stopped him. So I think lots of options for Big Country.
Yeah, matchmaker John Ramdeen doing a nice job here, right here. But, the one that you got to question is you pulled Bigfoot out of the fight with Overeem. Cool, put Bigfoot against Nelson. That leaves Carwin to fight Overeem. If I'm Carwin or his mom or his people, I don't want that.
We also know that BJ Penn is going to be taking part on UFC on Fox 5, taking on Rory MacDonald. And we know that Rory MacDonald is firing on all cylinders right now, training with the best fighters at the TriStar Academy, including GSP himself. But BJ Penn is not sleeping on Rory MacDonald, has employed a number of fighters to help him get ready for this fight, and I think it is a sign of the times for BJ Penn. He knows it's time for him to amp up his game. He brought in the likes of Josh Thompson, Pat Healy, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley. So I have a feeling wrestling might be in the cards.
Yeah, man. What a crazy time for the welterweight division. GSP and Condit, and then we've got the co-main event this weekend. We're almost forgetting about how amazing the fight between BJ Penn and Roy MacDonald is. And you're right. I mean, if you're BJ Penn, how are you going to beat this kid? He's long. He's got great striking. He's really, really good when he's on top of you. Maybe you're right. Maybe the answer is BJ, put this kid on his back, feed him some elbows, and work to that half guard or that side control and lay a beating on him. It just shows that BJ is taking this very, very seriously. That fight just starts to get tastier and tastier.
BJ Penn, one of the pioneers, of course, of mixed martial arts, and has really elevated the game of so many others. Anderson Silva calling him one of the best, if not the best fighters in the world. And I want to talk about this fight between Joe Lauzon and Jim Miller. Gray Maynard is out. Miller steps in, one of the most hardened fighters, I think, in the lightweight division. This guy is a guy you cannot sleep on for 1 second. He keeps the pressure on. He tries to attack. He tries to finish his opponents. And Joe Lauzon is the same type of fighter.
You know, Joe Lauzon has really been coming along, and you like watching him fight. He's exciting. He's sort of a little nerdy character with big ears who can kick the crap out of most people, and that's really fun to watch. All of us kids who grew up as nerds kind of cheer for this guy. And, you know, there's different types of fighters. He's a crafty one. He wants to trick you. He wants to trap you, and that can work against Ray Maynard. It's a lot harder to do against Jim Miller. Jim Miller's better on the ground than Maynard is. Jim Miller's as big or bigger than Maynard is. It's really, they're both tough fights, but to change gears like that on the way is tough. But man, you know, we're going to see how it goes down.
What I like about this fight is how it impacts the lightweight division. You know, people can say what they want about the welterweights being the deepest division or the middleweight division being the deepest. I think pound for pound, you have to look at the 155-pound class. These guys are talented from the champion all the way down to maybe the number 20 fighter in the rankings. So I think that it's a very important fight for Joe Lauzon and for Jim Miller because, of course, Jim Miller lost to Ben Henderson. Yeah. So if he wants to get that shot again, well, I mean, Ben Henderson taking on Nathan Diaz. So if he comes out and has a career-defining performance, he could really jockey himself in that top 5, top 10 spot. I mean, he's a top 10 guy right now, but to get a victory over Joe Lauzon would probably move him into the top 5.
Somebody hands me a piece of paper and says, you got to fight somebody. Oh, who's, it's a Miller brother, come on. And that's what Joe Lauzon's going through right now, but it's a great fight, man.
Jim Miller, Sarah, is one of the most durable fighters in the world. This guy, you really can't relax because he is going to beat you down.
All right, so Joe Lauzon better be paying attention, right? Thanks, guys. Okay, so UFC 154 is this Saturday night in Montreal, featuring the return of Georges St-Pierre. We're all pumped to see him back in the cage against Carlos Condit. And as soon as that fight ends, we will be live in studio to bring you post-fight reaction, the live post-fight press conference, and Ramdean and Robin will be breaking down the card. So make sure you join us then. Coming up next on Fight News Now Extra, we take a look at what's happening in boxing.